What's up, everybody? Welcome to Birmingham, Alabama. We're near downtown now, and we're gonna head into the west side of the city to tour the west side hoods. We're gonna go to Smithfield, a few other neighborhoods that are kind of just to the west of downtown. Areas are dangerous, known for housing projects and inner city stuff. But a lot of people who work in Birmingham, this is where they have to live. It's where they can afford to live. They're just trying to raise their families and take care of their families and provide for everybody they love the best way they can. So not just everybody in the neighborhoods that are poor or bad. They're just trying to, that's where people have to live. I'm sure if they had an option, they'd live in the richest neighborhoods they could over in the hills. But we're going to tour these neighborhoods here and show you guys kind of where the normal working class people live in Birmingham. We also show the nice sides, suburbs. So we've done videos in the suburbs today, Vestavia Hills, Homewood, downtown, and we're now looking at the residential neighborhoods too, giving you guys a broad look at the city. We're not just showing the bad parts. A lot of people say we do videos in the hoods and show off poor neighborhoods like it's a zoo. We show off everything, okay? And these videos are raw and uncut, so if something happens, you'll get to see it. We just did a video on the east side, and we had a very uncomfortable situation go through there. So I got Katie in the front seat now. I had Dad in the front seat. He's not from Alabama. He doesn't know too much. I really had to act out here, so he was drawing too much attention. Kind of put us in a dangerous spot, really. I want to show you guys how beautiful it is to see these storms roll through. I love it. And you got the mountains over there, and on the other side of those mountains there's some very wealthy homes up there on the other side of those hills, but that's not the reality of the person living on this side of the hills. It's totally different. Just interesting how that hill divides the wealth from the poverty and the crime. But there's beautiful people on both sides of that hill. Just some of them are better off economically than others. There's friendly people, great people here, and there's great people over there, and there's crappy people over there, and there's crappy people over here. Nice to see these storms kind of roll through here. I love just sitting here and watching these storms. That's one thing I like about Birmingham. It's really nice because you got that background. You got those mountains for a reference point of where it's raining. It's awesome stuff. Love it. Okay, so here's great. Whoa, thunder right near us. I don't know, right off the side of the camera. Okay, so we're gonna head into the west side of the city. And again, whatever happens, happens. If something happens, that's what we saw. I'm not gonna let. We're now in Smithfield. I'm not going to let the way somebody else acts affects me. Like when I went to that neighborhood, I'm working. My job is to record neighborhoods. So if somebody wants to follow me around and whatever they're doing, it is definitely their choice to do that, not mine. So, like in the east side video, somebody followed us around. There's nothing I can do about that. That's what we saw when we drove around. So I'm not going to let somebody else's behavior dictate my money. I'm working right now. This is my job, to drive around and show these neighborhoods. So if we run into somebody acting a fool, they can't really get mad at us for recording it because this is what we're doing. You know, there's no expectation of privacy out in public, and if you're doing business that's illegal, you should find a way of doing it that isn't obvious. Be smart about it, because what's interesting to me as I do these hood videos, not only in Alabama, but anywhere I go, is that how obvious it is when I go into a neighborhood to know who's doing the illegal stuff. And you're an outsider, so they kind of scope you out. This is a beautiful neighborhood here.
Yeah.
Head south on 1st Street North.
Love these houses.
Harris Alley North. Turn right onto 4th Harris North, then turn left onto Center Street.
It's just interesting how when you go into a neighborhood, you can just about immediately tell who's doing something illegal. You know, and I stress this out so that if you live here, you can kind of pick up some pointers. The police ain't gonna send a Yukon with two white people like us, with a camera obviously visible in clear sight, to scope out your neighborhood. They're gonna. These are government housing. The government owns all these buildings. They're gonna let somebody move into a building that's gonna fade right in, and they're gonna be sitting on the front porch across the street from you watching what you're doing. It's not impossible for the government to, you know, they own these. This is actually government housing. This is their house. They own it. They can put people in here if they want to. You know, and it ain't no telling what somebody might do for a free place to live. And you know, $600 a week paycheck. So don't ever assume that. Don't ever assume that it's always the strange person that's dangerous to you. If you're doing stuff out there, the government knows, basically. And a lot of times they just don't care. I mean, if I can go into your neighborhood for the first time, never been in your neighborhood, I can drive in there for the first time, and I can figure. Yeah, it's cool. A little bit of these. If I can figure it out, driving through your neighborhood for the first time, you think the cops that patrol that neighborhood full time, not just you know, in uniform, but undercover. And the undercover cop may not be somebody trying to fade into the neighborhood. Maybe somebody that's already in the neighborhood. So just keep all that in mind. A lot of people think when they see us with the camera that we're police, and I'm just thinking, wow, if you really wanted to infiltrate into this neighborhood, it ain't really that hard. And people flip. There's a lawyer on YouTube right now who talks about that. I can't remember his name. Remember the lawyer that we watched? He's like a lawyer.
Oh, where he was talking about videos or something like that?
Yeah, there's a lawyer on YouTube. I can't remember his name.
I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I don't know the name of it.
Yeah. But anyways, Bruce. Is it Bruce? I can't remember his name. Let me check his time on YouTube. Bruce, lawyer. Bruce. He's real famous. Bruce Rivers. Yep, Bruce Rivers. His channel's called CLR Bruce Rivers. He's a lawyer. And he breaks down exactly how people, one of his recent uploads was breaking down exactly how, you know, when there's a criminal case, how people will kind of flip it on you. They'll flip real quick. You know, they'll get on your case, and people that, you know, you think are on your side of the criminal case, they'll be on the other side by the end of the criminal case. So and you always think your dog's gonna hold you down. Yeah, right. I don't know how Alabama works. Every state's got different laws, of course, and those laws kind of dictate how things work, but a lot of times your dogs will flip on you. And the people that you think would never, and then the ones that tell you, oh, you know, stay on my side. You know, this is a lawyer. He's talking from experience. He's not just pulling this. He doesn't just give his opinion. That's his job. He's telling you how these cases work. He's a lawyer. He sees it all the time. So he knows what he's talking about. But anyways, Bruce Rivers, interesting channel. He does a lot of videos where he looks at like rap music videos, and then like he gives them legal advice, basically, on how, you know, their video could easily incriminate them. So just a very interesting concept for a YouTube channel. I enjoy watching his videos. It's interesting to hear the perspective of a lawyer as pertains to you know, stuff like that. Very interesting perspective of a lawyer looking at YouTube videos and saying, okay, this is what this person's doing. Here's how that can go wrong. And as a lawyer, he represents the people who have criminal charges, so he definitely would know how things can go wrong. But yeah, it's just a different perspective, and it doesn't hurt to educate yourself. My advice to anybody out there is, you can't go work for a McDonald's. If you don't have an education, you just can't go work for a McDonald's. You can't go work for a McDonald's. You can't go work for a Burger King at $8 an hour and think you're ever going to get ahead. That's those jobs. They're not meant for you to get ahead, But what you can do is something different. Is just like you go and get a loan for a $30,000 car to go stunt on your friends. Get a loan for a pressure washer. Get a loan for a lawnmower. Get a loan for a drill set and some batteries, and go work for you. Instead of financing a sports car, finance a work truck and start hauling stuff for people. Because if you don't have the education, like I don't have it. I'm not a dropout. I'm a kick out. It's totally different. I'm a kick out. Because dropout means you decided. I'm a kick out means they had enough of me. I was trying to get it on, but circumstances in my childhood were very difficult, and it didn't allow me to be able to finish my education. I wanted to. I went back 3 times, and eventually the school said, "We've had enough of you." I don't think they were fair with me, because I think they kind of tried to help me, but they didn't really care about helping me. They cared about kicking me out of school. But anyways, when you're in a situation where you don't have schooling like me, the last grade that I completed was the 8th grade. So when I go to a job and I say I dropped out of school in 8th grade, or I got kicked out, which is probably even worse if you say it that way. It's better to say you dropped out versus than you got kicked out, and it sounds actually worse. But anyways, I don't like to say I'm a dropout, because I didn't drop out. I wanted to keep going. It's just circumstances didn't allow it. See right here, they got a lawnmower, weed eater. You know what I mean? They're doing their thing. They're working. That's the type of thing you got to do if you want to get ahead. But if you don't, that McDonald's job, it ain't gonna get you anywhere. Does that mean you have to go to the streets because you can't get a good job? I mean, I'm talking to the person in my situation right now, which is high school dropout, high school kick out. Luckily, I don't have a criminal record. And I say luckily because I really was beating the odds tenfold on that one. But, no, that job ain't gonna get you nowhere. But instead of getting a loan for a sports car, get a loan for a work truck. Instead of putting wheels on your car, buy a pressure washer. Eventually, once you're self-employed and you got your own business, you'll be able to have whatever the crap you want. I got my dream car. I got my Yukon. This is my dream car. I've always wanted this. But I'm 31. I had to sacrifice a lot of years of my life, the only things I didn't want, to now I can do what I want to do. It's not going to happen to you overnight. It's a process. You got to earn your stripes in a sense. You're not just going to land inside that Yukon. There are no get rich quick schemes and all that. That's garbage. That don't exist. It is a long, progressive, repetitive, over long periods of time of doing the right things to get yourself into an economical situation to improve your life. So what you can do is be self-employed. And you might have to stay working at McDonald's, and during the weekends, instead of going to parties during the weekends, you might have to go wash people's cars. Excuse me. You might have to go wash cars for the weekend. You might have to go wash sidewalks, clean houses. You might, you know, while everybody's out partying for the weekend, hey, we're gonna go party. No, I'm gonna go work during the weekend, and eventually you'll have your tools, you'll have your equipment, and now you're self-employed. The only thing that can go wrong is if you do something stupid and go to jail, and then you lose it all. It'll be at the pawn shop. Your landlord will be taking it to the pawn shop, or the junk removal company will be doing it as well. Entonces se parece a Cantoque Papi, ¿eh?
Esto sí. La misma chorra y todo.
Se parece a Cantoque. So, what you can do is, you can focus. And I want to do, when I do these hood drive arounds, I'm going to start giving you guys some knowledge, because I feel like people tell me stuff like, you know, you're showcasing the hood like it's a zoo, but we did Vesuvia Hills and we did the nice part of town earlier, so we show everything. A lot of guys only show the hoods, we show everything. The good, the bad, everything. Well, it turns out that you gotta, you know, you gotta be self-employed, because you might make $100 an hour pressure washing somebody's driveway. That's 10 hours of McDonald's. You know what I mean? And it's cash money. If you're small, whatever, you know. But you can't grab that money that you're making now. When you make $100 an hour, you can't grab that and go to the club. That's not club money. That's you know, pay off a house one day money. And here in Birmingham, I've seen houses for $15,000. In most cities, if this was Miami, one, it's easier to make $100 in Birmingham than it is to make it in Miami. There's no doubt about that. I guarantee you, it's 100 times easier to make $100 here in Birmingham than it is to make it in Miami. In Miami, what you can buy for $15,000 is $300,000 in Miami. So there's no reason why you can't make it here, because there's places where the rents are higher, the dollar's harder to get, it's hotter outside while you're getting the dollar, it's more competitive, because you got people from other countries that want to work and get ahead because they're from a place that's really poor. So you think this is poor. You might look at this neighborhood and think, oh, this neighborhood's poor. No, this neighborhood's not poor. This neighborhood it's poor for American standards, but this will be the good side of town in the Dominican Republic or Haiti or Cuba, where I'm from. You know, so don't ever assume that, you know, there's places like Miami where they're really, really poor. You know? Them people came from real poverty. So now they're going to work and they're going to hustle and make the labor force more competitive. You don't have a competitive labor force here in Birmingham. So you're not going to tell me that if you start a pressure washing company, next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood's going to be doing the same exact thing. No, they're going to be laughing at you because you're working. So you don't have a competitive labor force. I mean, there's no reason why you can't make it. You might be in a rut right now, you know what I'm saying, but nothing comes without sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, and you can say, oh, you know, people born on that side of town, on the other side of that hill, they got it easy. They sure do. No doubt they got it easy. But that's not going to change your life. The only thing that's going to change your life is your willpower and your ability and decision to say, okay, I'm not going to live in poverty. I got to get out of it. And there's a few things that can ruin it for you. One of them is if you just take a 9-to-5 job and say that's it. I mean, I don't know how people can have the mindset of, okay, I get paid $300 a week, I pay $200 for rent, and there's $50. I don't know how somebody could get into that lifestyle, how they could program their mind. We're now in Rising West Princeton, this neighborhood we're in now. I'm gonna head over into Fairfield real quick. I just don't know how somebody can get in the mindset of I'm 9 to 5, pay the rent, and that's it. And just repeat that over and over again. My mind won't let me do that. I'm a hustler. I gotta do something. When I say I gotta do something, I mean I gotta know that I'm going somewhere with my life. You know what I mean? I don't know how somebody can get in the rut of 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, and that's it. I can't do that. I would die of depression probably. Just couldn't do it. And there's been stretches of my life when I was younger where I did. I had to keep a job for 2 years that I wasn't getting nowhere, you know? I've had to keep jobs for 2 years that I didn't like. But I knew that, and if I could go back, I'd have been saving money during that time period, not spending it on wheels and rims. And because I'm not telling you this, I've made these mistakes. You know, I've worked at a 9 to 5 job and then used my tax return to put wheels on my car or something. I've done that stupid stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, you don't need to do that, because you know you want to do something more important with your life. You want to do something better with your life than that. That's not the way you want to live, because I want you to be more successful than me. Yeah, I know a lot of people here, they feel like being who they are makes it more difficult, but Birmingham is 72% like you. So, I mean, sometimes your own people will hold you back more than other people. That's why I'm in Alabama, because I feel like here in Alabama, I've done better here in Alabama than I did within Miami area, South Florida, within my own community. Because your own people are the first ones that don't want to pay you. I'm actually going to go this way. This is Fairfield in front of us, guys. I'm going to get going. We got rain and we got a long drive back. And that's Fairfield right there in front of us. Neighborhood that's actually losing population. People are moving out. One of the few places in Alabama that's got that problem, where there's people actually moving out instead of moving in. Ah, crap. Too much traffic. Let's just go this way. But I want you to be successful, and, you know, even if there are injustices against you, your effort's the only thing that's really going to make a difference in your life, you know? And eventually, when you're successful, like I live in the suburbs of Montgomery, Alabama, and I go work for wealthy black people. Well, I mean, to me, I don't know if they're really wealthy. To me, they're wealthy. But for one, they're a lot better off than I am, that's for sure. I don't like this car behind us. Is it a cop? I don't like that car at all. Let me get into this lane right here. What's the speed limit here?
No idea. I haven't seen a sign.
Could be a cop. Well, anyways, you know, I want you to be successful, and sometimes it's hard, but I can work for black people that, to me, they're wealthy. They're way better off than I am. So somehow they made it to that side of, you know, the economy, and you can too. You just have to have discipline. I will tell you this: most of them are well educated. They didn't all come from a wealthy background, so it was harder for them than for somebody who was born into wealth. That's for sure. But they didn't let that stop them. And you don't have to be greedy. You don't have to be thirsty. You don't have to be scheming to get ahead. You know what I mean? Like, you can actually get ahead just by saving money. You know what I mean? And by being conservative with what you got. You don't necessarily have to get ahead because you're scheming and stealing and from frauding. That's quick money. You know, like in South Florida, where I'm from, we got a saying that fast money leaves fast. You know, it comes quick, but it also leaves quick. You know, so this little area we're in right now is has a lot of crime activity. It's a very dangerous little strip town. I'm just gonna keep rolling through here. Very, very dangerous little spot right here we're going through right now. It's one of the most hot neighborhoods, you know, one more place in Birmingham where you really, really gotta pay attention to what you're doing. This little area we're in right now. This is 3rd Street on the west side of town. So yeah, I mean, there are ways to make it out. I mean, there are a few things that will ruin that for you, though. One of the easiest way to ruin your own life is putting people around you who are going nowhere. You could have everything in front of you: work, income, salary, all it takes. Look here, they've been doing donuts in the middle of the road. You can see that, you know, there's a lot of lawlessness in this neighborhood. You can tell just by the fact that they've been doing donuts in the middle of the road. Putting people around you. You could be a successful young person. You put people, and it may be your cousin, it may be one of your best friends. I remember growing up, I had kids that I grew up with, and when they saw me, oh, Jose, what's up, player? And, you know, they're people that they like being around me. And, you know, it hurt their feelings that I had to push them away. And I told them. And sometimes even after you tell them, hey, man, you know, I'm trying to do this, you're trying to do that, we can't really, you know, I love you, we're day one, whatever, but, you know, you're doing this, I'm doing that. So we can't really vibe too much because it ain't gonna work. Because if I start hanging around you, then this is what we're gonna do. A lot of them hurt their feelings, and they still try to come around and force that friendship on you, even after you talk to them directly. Other times, it's been where you tell them, hey, bro, like I got other people that I've told them, hey, bro, this is what you're doing, this is what I'm doing, so I love you, you know I love you, but I can see you once a year or once every other year to give you a hug and see how your kids are growing up, and that's it. And they understand it. They really do. A lot of them really do understand that, you know, what they're doing doesn't correlate with what I'm doing, so we can't really be on the same page. And you can have that conversation with a friend, and they can either accept it or they can try to keep being around you. You know what I mean? If they're really your friend, they really love you, they're gonna see you once a year. And I've had friends like, hey, bro, I love you, man, but hey, look what I'm trying to do, look what you're trying to do. And I see them once a year, hug them, tell them I love them, but they know that the way they're, you know, if I hang out with them for more than a day, then I start getting to know too much of what they're doing, and we can't have that, because I'm trying to go in this direction, you're trying to go in that direction. So a little piece of advice is, see who you can take out of your life. Is there somebody, might be somebody you grow up with, and it might be somebody you've done all types of stuff with. It might be somebody that you really appreciate. I mean, somebody you feel, man, we done so much together. You know, we we did so much together. But they'll have to understand, you know, to a degree, that whatever it is they're doing, you can't have that around you. You don't have to tell them. There's guys where I've seen them, I say, hey, man, I've been wanting to hang out with you, man, but I've been so busy with work. Hey, you want to go to the party? Man, I want to go to a party tonight. Hey, I would love to, man, but hey, I got to work tomorrow. I don't have to work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But you find a way, either directly or indirectly, of removing people from your life who, you know, if you keep them around, are just going to drag you down, you know. And that's pretty much it. You got to know that sometimes there's people that, even if you're successful, having them around is going to drag you down. So, I mean, word of advice to everybody out there is, you know, if you're trying to get ahead, see if there's somebody in your life, even if you love, and these are people that I love. I don't hate these people, but I know I can't have them around me, because if I start hanging around them, you know, they're going to bring me trouble. So, all right, y'all. I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of love and wisdom, a little bit of OG advice. So if you're out there, you can get out of the street and be successful, and don't let anybody ruin that for you. You know, you can get all the money in the world. There's one thing that's enviable, and that is your youth. You can get money, you can lose money. You can get women, cars, money, all that comes and goes. But there's one thing, and that is your youth, that is enviable. Because it don't matter how much money you got. You're going to get old, you're going to die, you're going to lose that. But the people you love, that you have around you that are good, and your youth is enviable, don't throw that away. There's a lot of old rich people that wish they were a young kid again. That's the beauty of life, y'all. Check it out.